Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So as we all know, today is the day where teams trim their rosters all the way down to 53 guys. Of course, it's not set in stone. Things are subject to change. I mean, we can honestly see changes to 53-man rosters tomorrow, depending on who's being released, who's being traded, things like that, okay? But here we got the New York Jets 53-man roster. I'm excited to go through it. Let's start it off with quarterback. The Jets are rolling with three: Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, and Mike White. Now, we talked a little bit about this before in the video I posted earlier. If it was up to me, I think I would have. I honestly think I would have hung on to Chris Streveler and made him quarterback 3. I think when we look at this preseason in a vacuum, Streveler outplayed White. The offense moved. He led multiple comebacks. He obviously physically he's gifted with the arm strength, the mobility as well, just the overall size. I think you could do a lot with him at the quarterback position. We have to take a look at ball placement. Streveler looked really good. He looked like a capable quarterback. I don't think that's a stretch to say, and I know it might not be super popular, you know, because Mike White did throw the 400-yard game against the Bengals. I get it, and I know there's more that goes into it. Mike White has more experience at the NFL level in game. He also has more experience with the offense, just overall understanding of the system, and also reps and chemistry. All that stuff comes into play. But to be honest with you, I think the Jets have got to get Streveler on the practice squad. I know it sounds crazy, the quarterback position, I get it, but I really like this guy. I'm not just looking at his 3 straight preseason performances, also taking into consideration limited reps in training camp and saying, oh, nice, see ya. We're good with our 3. You know, I'm not doing it. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I like Streveler a lot. Let's look at running back. So a little bit of a surprise, 4 running backs on the roster. Of course, Breece Hall and Michael Carter, those guys were locks. But behind them, Bam Knight and Ty Johnson. You know, in my prediction video, I had Ty Johnson over Bam Knight and Tevin Coleman on the roster. Coleman was the one that got released. So Bam has had an impressive training camp, impressive preseason, and he's done enough as an undrafted free agent to initially make that 53-man roster. Ty Johnson, on the other hand, if you're looking at him as a RB4, I like it. You know, I know he's not perfect. I know he's not an elite running back. I get it, but he runs hard. He showed he can play at the NFL level. I mean, that Raider game back in the Gase era, like, he was unbelievable. I still like Ty Johnson a lot. And we take a look at how Mike LaFleur wants to attack defenses, the offensive scheme. He will cycle in running backs, right? It's all about getting into those third and shorts, the quick passing, play action, opening up everything. You can't really do that if you have one back. Right, I mean, you can theoretically, but I mean, chances are he's going to break down unless his name is Derrick Henry. So overall, I really like the running back room. Super happy that Knight made the roster. You know, I personally, you know, maybe I would have went with a veteran running back, but you know, if the Jets are convinced that Knight and Johnson are the go-to backups here, that should see at least a little bit of playing time this season, then I'm not going to question it, right? I'm not doing it. Next up, tight end, 4 guys here: CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert, and Lawrence Cager. Now, initially, I thought that the Jets were going to hang on to 3 and maybe try to get Cager on the practice squad, but man, they're rolling with 4. I mean, we take a look at the tight end position last season. It's a complete 180. You know, from last year to this year, it's a big piece within the offense. You look at Zach Wilson, a young quarterback. Obviously, you want that security blanket. Conklin, Uzomah coming off career years in their respective teams in Minnesota and Cincinnati. Uzomah, I mean, we all know how the Bengals looked last season, Super Bowl, all that good stuff. You're getting experience, you're getting veteran leadership, you're getting production, and you're getting multiple upgrades. I would have taken Jeremy Ruckert over everybody that the team had on at the tight end position a year ago. I think this is one of my favorite rooms easily on the team. Next up, wide receiver, looking like 6 players here: Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, Denzel Mims, Braxton Berrios, and Jeff Smith. Kind of expected for sure. Now, it's still up in the air what's going to happen with Denzel Mims. Is he going to be traded? What's the market looking like for him? Carolina just went out and acquired Chenault for, you know, an extremely cheap price tag, in my opinion. So it probably takes them out of the market, which in turn, I mean, you could, if you look between the lines, maybe the Jets were asking a little too much, so Carolina wanted to pivot and, you know, allow Ben McAdoo to go get one of his guys that he had back in Jacksonville, Chenault. Is Carolina out of it? I would say probably, but there's other teams out there that I feel like make a lot of sense for Denzel if the Jets want to trade him. Atlanta, Chicago, I think are two of the top two. Dallas, Baltimore, there's multiple landing destinations for Denzel Mims. But overall, the wide receiver room is pretty much as expected. Next up, offensive line, Dwayne Brown, Laken Tomlinson, Connor McGovern, AVT, George Fant, the starting five pretty much locked in. But behind those guys, Dan Feeney, Nate Herbig, and Max Mitchell, I think the one thing that stands out here is the fact that the Jets are hanging on to 8 offensive linemen. They cut Chuma Edoga and Connor McDermott. I think Joe Douglas has got to make a move at the tackle position. Maybe Alex Leatherwood just was released, an hour ago here by the Raiders. I just can't envision this Jets offense going into the year with 2 tackles up there in age and having one backup behind him in Max Mitchell, and that's it. Now, obviously, the practice squad comes into play and everything like that, but I'm really, really surprised we didn't keep some depth there at tackle. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out moving forward, within the next 24, 48 hours here. But man, I'm looking at this offensive line. I feel great about the starting 5. Behind them, I love Nate Herbig, Dan Feeney, kind of so on, and then Max Mitchell I'm excited about. But, if he's thrusted into the starting role, year 1, I'm not so sure. We need to get another tackle. In my opinion, I think JD has got to do it. Okay, so looking at the defensive line here, we got Quinnen Williams, Carl Lawson, John Franklin Myers, Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Huff, Michael Clemens, Vinnie Curry, Nathan Shepard, Solomon Thomas, Sheldon Rankins, and Jacob Martin. Now, I'm excited about the defensive line. I figured the Jets would have a lot of bodies in this group because of the amount of rotation and substitutions that Jeff Ulbrich wants to do defensively. And, we look at the scheme, we've said it over and over. You guys have brought it up a ton of times. It's a great take. This scheme is based around getting after the passer with your front 4 down linemen. If you can't do that, right, and you have all these guys dropping back in zone coverage all the time, and quarterbacks aren't really being pressured, they're not forced to escape the pocket, and they have time to throw, they will just dice defenses apart, especially in the short passing game. Okay, so it's important that they have fresh legs, that they have talent, that they have upside and depth there. We all saw what happened last year, Carl Lawson going down. We don't want to be in that position again. Okay, so the defensive line, big fan. Next up at linebacker, CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams, Quan Alexander, and Jamian Sherwood. I was thinking Najral Dean was going to be making the roster, but it's looking like the Jets are rolling with 4. I feel like the starting 3, Quan, Quincy, and Mosley, locked in place, and then on nickel looks, it's going to be Quincy Williams and CJ manning the middle of the field. So overall, I do like the linebacker room. Next up, cornerback here, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter, Brandon Eccles, and Bryce Hall. Now, 5 guys overall. What's going on with the backup slot position? The team went out and they released Javelin Guidry. I like Michael Carter, but in the event that he gets hurt, and again, we do have to factor in the practice squad, maybe somebody, will be back, maybe JD has his eyes set on somebody. But overall, I'm looking at the roster, 5 corners. I like Bryce Hall, I like Brandon Eccles, but as inside guys, I don't know. I really think that the backup slot position needs to be addressed. I think if it was up to me, I would hang on to 6 corners going into the season. It's tough, but then again, what do I know here? So they're rolling with 5 players at corner. Next up at safety, 4 players, Jordan Whitehead, LaMarcus Joyner. Here's where it gets a little interesting. Ashton Davis, Tony Adams. Tony Adams, undrafted free agent from Illinois. But I really felt like Jason Pinnock was going to make this roster. He was released earlier today. But looking at how Pinnock played at the end of last season, against the Buccaneers at safety, that wasn't the position that he was drafted in. That wasn't the position that he practiced in for the majority of the season and training camp and preseason. To look how he did at such a young age, at the end of the day, he's a late round pick, a late round rookie, and he's out there making plays and looks like a solid defender, solid safety. With all of this, all of these different things working against him, and then to see what he looked like in training camp, to hear Saleh and this coaching staff really, I don't want to say rave, it's a strong word, but they went on and on about Jason Pinnock, his upside, physical attributes, his strength, versatility as well. to see him not even make the backup safety position, it's a little odd. Elijah Riley was released. We've seen him get in the game and make an impact. Will Parks as well. And Ashton Davis continues to make the roster. So we'll see what happens at the safety position. Maybe something happens, maybe not. Jaquiski Tartt's out there, and that's a player that I really like. I know Clark from Baltimore requested a trade. Maybe something gets done there. But overall, Whitehead and Joyner at the as starters, I'm completely fine with. But behind them, Ashton Davis and Adams, unproven young players. I'm a little iffy on. We cannot get torched on the back end of the defense next season. And last but not least, 4 special teamers: Thomas Hennessy at long snapper, Braden Mann at punter, Greg Zuerlein at kicker, and then Justin Hardy as kind of the permanent special team guy. So, and of course, all of those were pretty much expected. Zuerlein won the kicking job. We knew Braden Mann and Hennessy had those positions locked down, and Justin Hardy he brings so much value to this football team. Everybody absolutely loves him. So overall, that's the 53. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I think a move has got to be made at tackle, backup safety, backup nickel corner. But, for the most part, I think everything else looks pretty good, to be honest with you. Pretty good. Of course, the Strevler thing, backup running back Ty Johnson, there are a couple gray areas, but all in all, I'm pleased. I really am. I do, again, think that a couple moves need to be made. It's not a perfect 53, but I think it's good enough. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.